let's just jump into the first question, and I might seem like I'm a little scattered here for a couple minutes, but our middle daughter Brittany had her baby today, so we have a brand new St. Patty's boy, and yeah, we
Congratulations, Papa.
Congratulations, Papa.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah.
He the first
yeah,
boy, first grandson?
no, this will be, let's see, one, two, this will be our third. Yeah, third boy. You're on mute.
I thought they were all the grandkids were girls.
Yeah, now my whole life has been around girls. Then Brielle had a girl boy. So Brielle's got one boy. My youngest daughter has one boy with another boy coming. And then Brittany just had a boy, and her and her husband have been trying for 3 years. So this is our little miracle baby. Praise the Lord. And so now the boys are going to outnumber the girls. So, you know, my Heavenly Father has a sense of humor like every one of yours. All right, all right. So anyhow, if I jump around a little bit, bear with me because I just got back here from the hospital just a few minutes ago. So anyhow, as we wrapped up the law of magnetism, and one of the questions I'm going to ask you guys when we get through this, and maybe Jane, you can make a note to remind me, is after we go through the 21 laws, I'm going to ask each one of you to share with me what your favorite chapter was and why. So be thinking about that. Write it down. What was your favorite chapter? Why? And maybe what an aha moment was in any of it. So the question was, how has, this is back, we'll wrap up last chapter before we go into the law of connection. How has your ability to attract others positively or negatively affected your leadership? So I put that before you last week. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share?
I'll share, John.
Yeah,
Gwyneth.
go ahead. Go ahead.
It's so wild. I guess it's just a cumulative personal development, but in the last year or so, all sorts of people are being attracted to me without my even trying. And um and it's just wild. Like there were these 4 or 5 13-year-olds at the ball game, and my other 2 gray-haired friends were dancing as we were in the break around the stadium, and they stopped and started dancing with us. And then they asked for us to take a picture. Long story short, this was 2 years ago. They're still in touch with me. They call me and they just want to play, but it's with adults too. And it's just so exciting that something has broken through.
Very good. I mean, so you guys were having fun, being yourself, dancing, and the kids saw that and were attracted to it. And since then you've kind of carried a relationship forward. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
funny
it's like for them to have this kind of adult friendship is just so powerful for them and for me.
Oh yeah. Well, I tell you, we mentioned it earlier. We've talked in the chapters before. It's amazing what the light will attract.
Yeah. Exactly.
Very good. I love it. I love it. Anybody else?
Hey, John, this is Duran. May I share? I'm on my phone today. My internet's not working on in my home. I don't know what's going on with that. But I just wanted to share that Joy and we went over to the Mid-Hill Chamber today, and we met the young lady who's actually fresh out of college, her first job. She runs the marketing department of the chamber, and she walked us through the whole scenario of what program to pick to be a member of the chamber. And she's even interested in Legal Shield herself, so I got her some information over. But it was just phenomenal to be able to let Joy go over and see the chamber's office and what it looked like, and how some of the folks work in there. And we're really excited about having the opportunity to join this chamber. There's a lot of good folks over there. We're ready to start getting our hands dirty doing volunteer work and just really supporting the community. Even went and bought some local honey from one of the young ladies who's a therapist. Her husband's she's a massage therapist, and her husband owns local honeybee farm. So we're just excited about this, and thank you for the last couple of times when you said go to these chambers. It doesn't matter if there's other Legal Shield reps there. It's not everyone that want to do business with everyone. So thank you for giving us that reassurance, and now we're happy that we're starting to we're about to plant some roots here, some seeds here, and grow some roots. So thank you for allowing us to share.
Yeah, that's awesome. Seeds that grow roots, grow big trees. So yeah, that's what it's about. You know, same thing I said with the BNIs and the chambers and the other networking events. People just want to know that you're going to show up. You know, that's why I also mentioned it's like you people will tell you no, even though they like what you see, just to see if you'll come back. You know, because most people won't. Most people won't. Michael, real quick, and I'll go to my next question.
Okay, yeah. So it's thinking about the law of magnetism and how it affected me. It's a positive effect because what it did was it made me look at. It's like a mirror, you know. It made me look more at myself and it made me become more aware of my deficiencies. Actually, you know, because I'm realizing who I have been attracting. And then it made me, as a mirror, look at myself more. So that positively affects me in a way that it helps me to grow. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. I would say it's a positive effect.
Good. Jane?
Yeah, as Michael was talking, something came to me, and that is that I've had experiences where our leadership, the stuff that we've learned, has enabled me to speak up at times when other people aren't speaking. And a lot of time that will sometimes come back at you in negative ways. For example, Jane always likes to talk first. No, Jane doesn't like to talk first, but if we're going to talk and we're going to have a discussion, someone has to start it. And when you step up and you start doing these things that the masses won't, it's like the crab pulling you back into the basket. And so that a lot of people don't want to speak up because they feel uncomfortable doing it, or other things. It's not only about speaking up, but I've noticed that you step out and you're suddenly, for a while there, you're alone. It's like maybe stepping onto a surfboard and suddenly you're not with a whole group of people. You're all alone in that wave and you've got to ride it or fall off the board. But I kind of like riding it.
Well, it goes back to what we shared before. If you don't stand for something, you can fall for anything. You know, and it's okay to stand. There's people that don't maybe care for me at different times, and they don't because I think independently, and I don't care what people think about me because I know who I am. You know, and so part of my challenge with this, you know, how has your ability to attract others positively or negatively affected you is I was never a yes person. And with our previous administration, I was willing to challenge the status quo. And there were some times I would challenge it rather quickly versus kind of thinking through or wading through my emotions. Where had I waded through my emotions, sometimes I might have accomplished a little bit more. There were times where I was I felt the organization, the 1099 associates were so wronged by certain things the previous administration did that I would fire off an email. And emailing is a second form of communication to me. I desire a person-to-person communication, but I would fire that off. And after a while, I got a little bit smarter. And before I would fire it off, I'd go to Darcy and I'd say, hey, read this before I send it. And she would say, you can't send that. You cannot send that. And then she would say, and then she would get to kind of writing a few things. And I'm like, that's just way too soft. That's just not how I feel. And anyhow, you can imagine she probably had a little bit more of a magnetism toward her than maybe I did in some of those. And so anyhow, I had to think through those types of things. And I think that was a very healthy learning environment and time for me. I can still continue to stand and challenge the status quo, but I'll think through it maybe a little bit more versus just kind of jumping out. Okay, so the last question, how can you work to become a more magnetic leader? Just real quick, short answers with anybody. How can you work to become a more magnetic leader?
Practice,
Have an
practice,
attitude.
practice.
Jane, then Brenda.
I said practice
Practice what?
leadership skills. Keep learning from people like you, from people like well, so many out there. Arash Vasugi that we hear from, Elizabeth Gardner, for example, and learn from the masters.
Good. Okay, good. Brenda, were you gonna say something?
Attitude, gratitude, show you care, listen to them, engage them, you know the color of their living room rug.
Very good. Attitude, gratitude, show you care, listen. That's good. All good.
One for me, John, is the looking for people to be associates who are already have some leadership skills. I've tried to help quote unquote people, and that hasn't been helpful like I thought it would. I thought they would have empathy and really get this, and the people who get it are the ones who are already leaders to some extent.
Okay. All right. Regina?
I was gonna say that too. Listening to people, and then maybe asking some questions about themselves, because people like to talk about themselves, and so asking questions about them.
Beautiful. Listening and questions, I've always said, are a window to a person's soul. Questions. They do like to talk about themselves, and boom, there's so many things you can wrap around their strengths and interests and dreams and desires and aspirations with what we have to offer in Legal Shield product and op. Barry. You're on mute, Barry.
There you go. All right. John, for me, it would be leading by example and showing up.
Good, good. Leading by example and showing up. Leading by example gives you great testimonials and stories. Showing up creates a dependability and accountability, a trust, and character. So I love it. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let me switch gears here and jump ahead to this. Okay. All right. Few quick comments, and then for me right now, golly, I love every chapter, but this is one of my favorite chapters because I just think connection is one of the most important things any of us can do. And on page 115, let's just see here. On page 115, you can't move people to action unless you first move them with emotions. The heart comes before the head. When it comes to working with people, the heart comes before the head. And then he goes on a little bit further to say, would you rather the speaker engage you on a human level, maybe with a story or a joke? Or would you rather that speaker engage you with statistics and facts? And I'll tell you, when I first got involved in this industry in 1989, Darcy and I had probably more people in my funnel, my activity funnel, than Darcy did, but Darcy got more results than I got. And the thing was, the difference, and I was so stubborn at a young age with pride that I wasn't willing to look at her and try to learn. What I realized is I could get up and I could give the best presentation from the point of facts and statistics and documentation, this, that, but I wasn't good at stories. I wasn't good at the connection side. Darcy was a master at asking questions. And through the asking of questions, she recruited more distributors back then. We didn't call them associates. They were distributors, and ended up actually selling more product than I sold. And I used to get so frustrated. I'm like, what are you doing? you know, and then I kind of sat back and watched and realized the only difference was she asked questions and she told more stories. The key is in that second paragraph. For leaders to be effective, they need to connect with people. Why? Because you first have to touch people's hearts before you ask them for a hand. That is the law of connection. I have what I feel here. How does that that sentence right there, those 3 sentences, how can that relate to what we do in Legal Shield? Anybody? For leaders to be effective, they need to connect with people. Put that in terms of Legal Shield, our opportunity and who we are.
May I
Can
say
anybody
something?
Go ahead. Go, Patty.
What it tells me is, again, back to what you call treasure hunting. I think that when you say to someone, can you please let me just ask you a few questions so I may see how I could help you or serve you better with what we have to offer. You know, I think if you show concern that someone has the input and you're going to actually listen to it and then have an answer, I think that shows respect for where they are at and what their needs are.
Okay. So let's stay here for a second and anybody can answer this. I'm going to ask Patty the question. She can answer it as well. So Patty, I couldn't agree with you more. Treasure hunting, asking those questions. So once you've treasure hunted with me, what do you guys feel would be the best next ability to connect what it is you have to offer?
Well, I would believe that during that first few minutes or less, there is going to be the commonality. And if you can find common ground on anything, whether it's social or family, as you've mentioned before, that immediately allows them to speak about themselves and their situation. And I think when you speak with people and you throw something out there, just shut up and listen, you know, and let that happen.
So once you connect with me, okay, you've asked me questions, you've connected with me. I've got a family of 5. I've got 3 young girls, and we own a business. How do you connect what your objective is to me?
The wheel of opportunity.
Okay, who said the wheel of opportunity?
Well, it lets me know your interests, your background, and where you may fit in that wheel of opportunity. So
Okay.
then I know where I'm directing the next step.
Okay, so the wheel of opportunity is good, but you're still presenting facts to me. You're still presenting not statistics to me, but you're presenting company stuff to me, which is okay. Is there a better way?
Yes.
And what would it be, Teresa?
So when you're treasure hunting and they're sharing things with you, coming up with some stories, stories can also attract a person. Just knowing that, hey, you like going skiing. And, one of our Performance Club trips, we went to Lake Tahoe or whatever. I don't know if you ski at Lake Tahoe, but I'm just saying, I don't do skis. But bottom line, we find, somebody said the commonality, but you can further solidify by giving them some stories, how the things that they're interested, stories, how it's helped other people. Our business has helped other people. Maybe they wanted to send their kids to the college of their choice. Oh, one of my business colleagues, Nancy Chiconis, got in this business so that she could earn the additional income to send her kids to college. She was able to do that, and her kids never had student loan debt.
See, right there it is, folks. That's what I'm trying to get to right there.
Excellent.
Testimonials regarding the product and or the opportunity. Teresa, now that you bring that up, hearing where some of your interests go with your children, gosh, I can really relate to that. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine was able to provide private education for all their kids, with Legal Shield being their plan B. Today, they make $2,500 a month part-time with that sole purpose of being able to protect families and send their kids to private education. Gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Let me tell you a little more about how they did that. You know, you mentioned that you travel a lot, a good friend of mine also travels. He's one of the largest operators of Papa John's, and he has found this service to be extremely valuable because he's had 8 moving traffic violations, all represented by Legal Shield with no points on his record. Let me tell you more about how that happened. Stories sell, facts tell. So that's kind of what I'm getting to. So Patty, yes, treasure hunting, asking questions as you start to get into the product, as you start to get into the opportunity. That's why I try to share with people. So many times when you see testimonials go across the stage, you should open your journal and you should write down. When Teresa Johnson does her story, government worker, government background. When you hear Brenda Daniels tell her story, LPGA professional coach. When you hear Ken's background, Ken, I think your background was attorney. Am I right? Well, Ken, what was your background?
I did 35 years in healthcare.
Healthcare. Okay. All right. Did we have an attorney in Louisville?
Not that I can think of.
Where's Bill Frank? Bill Frank
he's
is an attorney.
He's
Ohio.
in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe maybe that's what it was. Okay. Well, Jerry Cohen, background attorney, the late Debbie George, business broker, the story, we got everything. We got everything. So anyhow, okay. All right. Good stuff. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. Okay,
Yes.
good. Good. Let me go page 116, page 116. My gosh. And you've all heard it. So I used to tell my staff, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Again, that goes back to what Patty mentioned. That goes back to the things we've been talking about. When you ask questions, when you are sincerely interested in others, they become interested in you. And when they become interested in you, that means they're interested in hearing what you can do or what value you can bring to them. All right. You develop credibility with people when you connect with them and show that you genuinely care and want to help them. And I don't know about you guys, if you look back in your past and any other products, goods, or services any of us have represented, or opportunities or companies or services that we've been with, if you ever had anything that offered more value to helping people than what we do here. I mean, I haven't been able to offer anything that comes as remotely close than that mobile app with the Legal Shield product or that mobile app with the identity theft product. And for less than $72.90, for less than what, $2.30 a day? I think that's what it comes to. I don't have it in front of me, but right about there. Duran, you got a question on this?
Yes, guys. I just thank you guys for allowing me to ask and give so many comments because I just love being here. At the chamber meeting, we asked a young lady about programs for nonprofit things like that, where Joy can get involved because she has MS and she want to help with women with autoimmune and mobility. She helped with that. There's an event where Joy can go to that. We asked about autistic children and programs. They have a ribbon cutting for Ryan's Place so we're going to attend that because of our son. It's like 7 different things that I wish I would have my notebook open. Next time I'll bring me a little notepad so I can take notes and everything. We're looking to get involved to help some of the nonprofit landscaping businesses that help with people with disabilities, critical illness, and disabled vets. We're going to get our children touching and touching the community so they know we're out here helping because we genuinely care. I come from the medical field. Joy's an educator, and we have disabilities and health issues in our home. So we're not just doing it just to do it. We really mean this. This is our life. This is our everyday. This is our normal. So where other folks can just get up and run, Joy and I and the kids, we got to make some strategies to get out the house sometimes. But it's all good. So I just wanted to say thank you. Sometimes I think I talk too much, but we just got to keep talking. We got to keep sharing here. We got to make it so comfortable that we all start getting into our groove. We practice here so we can go out there and get right. So your input, come to give That's what we talk about in Think and Grow Rich and in our morning group. Come to give.
That's good.
You get more out of giving. Back over to you guys.
Yep. And you don't have to go out and do meetings. You get to go out and do meetings. You don't have to go out and see people. You get to go out and see people. It's just a mindset. You know, people that want to talk for the sake of talking are bothersome. People that want to talk because they have a passion and joy for what they do is a really pretty cool thing. So Duran, great. Let's just see, let's go page 117 real quick so we can kind of keep it rolling here. Page 117, to connect with people in a group, relate to them as individuals. You know, if we're all full service associates, then there's going to be times you want to relate to people in a group. There's going to be times where maybe you make a connection. You should be very comfortable doing a decision maker meeting. And you should be very comfortable going and standing in front of, talking to 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 employees. You know, you don't necessarily always have to hand that off. Although if you've never done it, hand it off, learn, garner the experience. But if push come to shove and you couldn't find anybody, you should be able to do it. And the best way to do it is connect with an individual. Don't look at the whole group. And like we said earlier, go early. You know, when Teresa saw me in Maryland, I was at the event 40 minutes early. I'm wanting to talk to everybody. I'm wanting to take pictures with people. I'm wanting to ask them how long they've been in the business. What do they like best? You know, what happened last week when Warren was in town? What happened the week before that, or the Super Saturday before that? How do you, so I think, and I'm not going to
But
go
John,
through. Yeah.
but don't you think that that's why it's important for us to plug into meet and greets with the speakers? Because you get an opportunity, they get to learn about you and you get to learn about them. And so it is, even at the Super Saturdays, going early, you get to not only introduce your guests, but you get to meet other guests and they get to learn about you, because this business is all about building a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jeff Roberti, who you guys have heard me mention numerous times, Jeff Roberti taught Darcy and I at the Super Saturday events. He taught us, because he led by example, is you get there early. If Teresa's my guest, I walk right up to Brenda and say, Teresa, I'd like you to meet Brenda Daniels. Brenda's been with the company for the last 15 years. Her background is an LPGA coach. She's a heck of an athlete. And Brenda, why don't you share your story with Teresa? And everybody knows that the story is about 2 to 3 minutes max. It's not like you to monopolize a 15-minute story. And then I go over, and Teresa, come here, I would like you to meet Duran. You know, I've known Duran for the last 2 months. He's part-time, but he's just out there blowing out. Duran, share your story with Teresa. Jane, come here. I want you to meet Teresa. Teresa's a guest today. Teresa's background is, you know, in the government. She's looking for a plan B. And Jane, share your story, you know. And see, the great thing is somewhere in there, in that story, not only is Teresa going to meet team, Teresa's going to see others with stories that are going to kind of be similar to hers. And she's probably going to relate to somebody else's where maybe she related to mine, but she related to somebody else's better. That's just absolutely critical. So that's good stuff. So in this next section on page 117, you've got 8 different aspects that you can look at. So, you know, how do you really work to gain that confidence? How do you really work to gain the things and attributes you need to be immensely successful? And I'm not going to finish the whole chapter out here, but if you look at this, you know, connect with yourself. You must know who you are and have confidence in yourself. I ask you to put this in your notes. I'm going to have you do it again. Always operate with a position of strength. No matter what you do, no matter who you are. And I try to encourage that upon brand new associates. I limit what I have them do because I work for them and I make them put me to work. That's the tell me, show me, let me grow me. I don't sponsor them and within the next 20 minutes, take their warm market list and say, hey, call everybody you know. We role play the daylights out of it. I role play to them. I tell them, I show them, I tell them, I show them how we contact and invite, how we expose people to the opportunity and products. Then I have them role play it back to me. Then when I have them do it, I have them mute out my phone and I listen to them on the phone, call their warm market. Because it's tell me, show me, let them do it. But after they do it, I'm there to grow them. Okay. So, connect with yourself, communicate with openness and sincerity. And I'm going to come back to a question here in a minute. Know your audience. We already talked about that. And one of the best things you can do is learn people's names. And when you learn their name, say their name. Ken, it's so nice meeting you today. I appreciate the opportunity and the invitation to sit down with you. Ken, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit more about yourself. Thanks, Ken, for sharing that information. Use their name, okay? These are little things. Do you live your message? Do you use the product? Do you share those testimonials? Do you use the mobile app? Do you use Prospect? Do you use LS Engage? Have you bought your tickets to Baltimore? Are you part of Performance Club? Do you live your message? So you go to where people are. 6, we've talked about focus on them, not yourself. We get it. 7, believe in them. You've got something valuable. You've got something that brings peace of mind, protection, and security. Your passion, your commitment, your belief in what it is you do is oftentimes going to be the sole thing they need to buy the service from you. Your belief in them because of what it is you know is often going to be all it needs to make the sale or recruit the associate. Offer direction and hope. Okay. So I'm not going to finish the rest of that chapter out. There's a lot of good in there. I want to leave you with all this question. How do you gain confidence in yourself? So how do you gain confidence in yourself? And if you answer that, then you're going to help others gain confidence in themselves. And it's critical. One last thing, write this down. KFC. If I recruit Teresa in the business today, KFC is this. Knowledge is K. Today is the lowest level of knowledge she's going to have about her business. F is fear. Today is the most fear she's ever going to have in her business. And C is confidence. Today is her lowest day of confidence in her business. It's her first day. It is incumbent upon me, through the belief I have in her and the opportunity we have with the experiences we've learned, that I'm going to raise the K, I'm going to lower the F, and I'm going to raise the C. And that comes with the coaching model, tell me, show me, let me, grow me. Okay, so how do you gain confidence in yourself? Anybody? Short and sweet if we can, just maybe 1 or 2 things. Anything come to mind?
Auto suggestion, affirmations, gratitude. Auto suggestion, affirmations, gratitude.
Okay, that's one of the first things I wrote down, affirmations. Gratitude, absolutely. I didn't write that down, but that is huge. Hey, friends, family, your answer can't be wrong.
Do it
Okay.
now. No procrastination. Do it right away. Do it now.
Okay, so how do you gain confidence in yourself? Do it. So you're saying ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice.
And the more you do something, the more confident you can become.
Exactly.
So practice.
Role playing.
That's one of the things I said. I put practice. Okay, what'd you say, Robert?
Role playing.
Okay, role playing, absolutely.
Personal
Now,
development.
wait. So role playing. So let's just say I've had numerous people call me, John, can you help me? I don't have a sponsor. Just total BS. You have one. You just maybe forgot or didn't do anything. But how about this one? Have you recorded your presentation? Have you recorded your phone call while you're prospecting? And when I say your phone call, have you recorded practicing calling your warm market and listen to it? Those are good things. All right. Michael, I think I interrupted you.
Oh, sorry, sir. Personal development.
Fantastic. So how do you gain confidence? So what you're saying is what we're doing right here. Personal
Yes, sir.
development.
Listen to things like Brian Carruthers' book. Who is that, Miss Teresa? I'm trying
Building
to
an
think of
empire.
Yeah,
Yes,
building an empire.
Good. Yep. Absolutely. Okay.
I think it was already said, John, Gloria here. Just, I think what Teresa said is doing it over and 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 over. But also for many years in this business, I did three-way calls with somebody more successful than me. So if that person, I learned, so like an apprentice. So then I need to do it for my team as well, is to be there and everything I've learned for 23 years, try to pass that knowledge on in this business that I've learned and thousands of memberships and recruits, and be there, like you said, John, and help coach them. So listen to the calls. I haven't done that enough. I did that in my early days. Listen to my new associates' calls and then coach them afterwards. So I'm going to be doing that.
One of the things that's good, Gloria. One of the things, Gloria, that you're saying, and it's called modeling knowledge. Modeling knowledge. That's the power of three-way calls. If you guys took the time to put 10 people on a three-way call with me, after those 10 people, you would start to sound just like me when it comes to handling objections and meeting concerns. You would come to sound just like me on how I ask questions before we ever even get into the opportunity or product. Modeling knowledge, teaching knowledge, activity knowledge. And remember, I told you guys I'm a walking testimonial. What I lacked in skill in the beginning, I gained in knowledge. What I gained in knowledge, I gained in skill. I just was willing to go through it so fast and so hard. I was willing to go through so many no's that I knew the yeses would eventually come. I would rather get hit with 100 no's a week than 100 no's in 3 years. Because after 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000 no's, I was going to build a hell of a business. So, cool. Anybody else? We'll get ready to wrap it up.
Daily massive action, John.
Yep. Daily. Yeah. All out massive action. Good.
I think daily success habits and sticking to it. One of the best books I think that I read is That One Thing, The One Thing. And, picking something of priority and understanding that the first domino, basically, what is the most important, and start with that first. And some people would say, eat the elephant first or whatever. I forget that saying. But I think daily habits, another man named John, Dr. Maddox, when I started with him, the first thing he handed me was Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly successful people, or of successful people. And, I still go back to it. I still review it. And it always makes me feel good because he was he was the best mentor in my 38 years of nursing. And he's passed away. But, you don't forget things like that. And I'll never be an expert at it. I still have to go back. If you ask me to say the habits, I would struggle. I keep the 10 commitments in my bookmark for the same reason, because for me, I've got repetition is key for me to absorb things. So it goes along with the modeling and, listening to others and repeating that modeling. It's very, very important.
Good.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. If you don't have that book in your library, kind of shame on you. It's a good book. I would also encourage you, listen, I read books 6, 7 times. I promise you the 7th time I got different things from the book than I got the first 6 times. It's like amazing. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Absolute must read. Absolute must read. As a matter of fact, I'm in the process of putting together some trusts and some things for our, kids and grandkids. And there will be, I'm blessed the remainder of my years to be able to, leave something for my kids and kids. But guess what? Nobody's going to have any of those, they're not going to have access to any of it past my children, to their children, until they have read things like Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. They're going to have certain hurdles that they have to go over, and they're going to have an age limit before they ever receive a dime, if we're lucky enough to ever get to that point, which I believe we will. Those will all be set in, the directions of the trust and from the executor. So good ways to think about kind of what we do with each other. I'm just giving you an idea of what I'm going to do with the kids. So if I'm going to do it with my kids or my grandkids, gosh.
That's it. That's our responsibility.
We're talking about it here. That's pretty powerful. Yep, Michael, we'll wrap it up with you.
Yeah, I was going to say, excellent information. That's our responsibility. One family at a time. That changes the world, in time. Rather than looking for big ideas on changing it, you change it from home, and hope that it continues to grow.
Yep, we've seen amazing people do that. Gandhi is a perfect example. So absolutely. All right, everybody, I will do this. I'm going to have Trish go on Shield Nation and post some questions I'm going to have for actually, never mind. Yeah, I'm going to post a few questions for next week. I've asked Teresa to take the lead next week. So if you guys don't mind, I've got my family vacation out in Breckenridge next week. So after I see Regina and the team in Denver, we're going to go up the mountain, and I'm going to skip next Monday, and Teresa's going to kick it off for us. So Teresa, thank you for that. And thank you guys for giving me a day off.
Have a
All right,
blast,
Joy.
John.
All right,
Have a
Thank
great
you.
time.
Hey, John, you
You
don't have to
deserve the
go out and work
vacation,
on your
sir.
day off, but you can work while you're out.
All right. I'm sure I can recruit somebody on that ski lift. I guarantee it. I'll have a story for
Ron,
y'all.
did you see the chat?
I did not see the chat. I can't do
No,
two
I
things.
was telling Deron. I sent him a
Oh.
private chat.
Okay.
Enjoy the grandbaby.
Oh,
Congratulations.
I wish I had a
Congrats.
picture. He's a cutie.
See
Teresa,
you
I didn't see.
Saturday.
Let's see if it came up. I don't see you, Teresa.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, I see it. Thank you so much, love.
Great training.
All right, y'all. See ya.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Bye.
Thanks, John.
All right.